Welcome back to the Confidence Igniter podcast. And I am your host. My name is Tamiko Green. Well, I am so excited about today's episode. And once again, I hope that you are too. Well, have you ever had a conversation with someone and you challenge the conversation because it was something you really didn't believe in? You didn't think that the person was, what they were saying to you wasn't really true, but because you didn't believe it. Or have you ever been in school and you challenge your teacher? Maybe you were in a math class and you challenged the teacher with a problem that they said was done one way, and you said, "No, I don't think that's right." Or have you ever challenged your parents when they made a decision that you didn't like? So you said, "Well, I don't think that that's fair." Yeah, we all challenge something or somebody. So today's episode is titled Challenge It. I'm going to say that again. Today's episode is titled Challenge It. Not because I want you to challenge your parents or challenge your teachers or even challenge the weatherman when he says it's going to rain and you look out and you see sun and you say, it's not going to rain. Not asking you to challenge none of that. But however, I'm asking you to challenge your limiting beliefs. See, when you think about it, when you're working on anything, whether it's a relationship, it's a goal, is working on losing weight, whatever it is that you're working on, and those thoughts come into your mind that says, can't do that. That's never going to work for you. And you decide to put everything down and say, you know what? Perhaps I shouldn't do this because I really don't have everything I need. I don't have what it takes. You start buying into those limited beliefs. But what I'm asking you to do today is instead of buying into what the mind is telling you, challenge it. Challenge the mind. If it tells you that you can't do something, then ask the question, then what is possible for me? Because the good book says that all things are possible. So if your mind is telling you that you cannot do something, then the question becomes, if I cannot do that, then what is possible for me? Which causes the mind to think a little differently. Because when you're working on something or you're doing something, whether it's cooking a meal, riding a bike, or whatever it is, and in your mind start having these negative thoughts about things, right? And you buy into it, yet instead of challenging it, then what you're saying to yourself, it must be true. It must be true that I don't have what it takes. So it must be true I can't do what it is that I desire to do. And it's not true. It's not. Well, why do you say that then? Because life is basically about perspective. The perspective is that you cannot do something, but that doesn't mean it's true. Because if all things are possible, there's nothing new under the sun. That means that anything that you desire to do, you can do it, but you got to be willing to challenge it. Do not take it at face value. Challenge it. See, I'm reminded of a time when my son had got beat up really, really bad. And the doctor said that he had 3 minutes to live. Now, 3 minutes seemed like a long time, but it really isn't if they didn't do the surgery. Well, after the surgery, the doctor talked to me and he was like, look, I'm telling you now that he probably won't be able to do a lot of the things he used to do. He probably might find himself in a nursing home or unless you're willing to take care of him from home. And, they just gave me all of these things that he would not be able to do and how his life would be. So to prepare me, well, I believe in challenging things. I believe that if you take things at face value, then you're saying, I accept just that. However, on the third day, of course, they had 24-hour watch on him because he was in intensive care. So, the nurses and the doctors are always there. Well, he happened to be asleep, and the nurse figured, okay, I'm going to step away for a second because he was asleep, the whole time. And when the nurse stepped away, something clicked in his mind, obviously challenging the doctor. Something in his mind obviously told him, I can do all things, and I'm getting up out of this bed. So when the nurse left out, he jumped up and fell to the floor. Of course, I got a phone call. I'm sorry, but something happened. And I said, what? And he said, we don't know how this happened, but your son jumped up and he fell out of the bed. His eyes are open. He's woke. He's talking everything. But see, I believe that even when he was out, he still could hear what the doctors were saying. He still could hear that they said all of the things that he would not ever be able to do again, but he challenged that limited beliefs. See, they were basing it upon what they had seen, right? Medical, basing upon what they have seen in other patients that had brain injuries. But instead, he believed that all things are possible. And to this day, he's doing everything they said he couldn't do. He works, takes care of himself, cooks for himself, everything. And sometimes that's what happened in life. We go on what they said. And when we take what other people say, and especially the limiting beliefs, okay, and we take those thoughts to heart and we focus on those things, they become a part of our life. So I say to you today to challenge it. Challenge what's in your head. Challenge those negative thoughts. Challenge when somebody tell you that you cannot do something, regardless to what they say. They're basing it upon their own abilities that they probably cannot do something. So challenge it. Challenge it, because if it's something that you truly desire to do in life, if your goal is to go to the next level in your life, if that's the goal, but the thought process says that you can't, then you must challenge the thought. Because we live our life in direct proportion of what we believe and what we think. I'm going to say that again. We live our life in direct proportion of what we believe and what we think. So it takes a lot of confidence to challenge the negative belief system that tells you that you cannot do something, so don't even try. Whereas I say, put the mind to work and ask yourself, ask your mind, what's possible for me? And then wait. Because one thing about the human mind, it loves a good challenge. And the thing is, whatever you feed it, it will eat it, but then it'll turn around and feed it back to you. So if the mind is telling you something that you cannot do, somewhere along your life journey, you have fed the thoughts of impossibilities to yourself. You looked out into the world and said, well, that will never happen for me. I can't do this. I can't do that for whatever reason. That's just not going to happen. And the mind said, okay. Well, no need of me trying. No need of me finding the resources to make it happen. No, not gonna do it. They said they cannot and it will not happen for them. Let this be a wake-up call. Challenge it. Challenge every limited belief that you have. If you have decided to go after a job and your mind told you they ain't gonna give you that job, you know you ain't got what it take. Well, what does it take? And if you tell me they're not gonna give it to me because I don't have what it take, then tell me what is possible for me. What is possible? Because something has to be possible for you. How do I know? Because we live in a world that's full of possibilities. We live in a world that if you believe whatever you focus on, whatever you give your dominant focus to, that becomes your experience in life. So the question becomes, what do you want to experience? See, I know my son wanted to experience more life. He wanted to do some great things in his life. So guess what? His thoughts was, not I. Uh-uh. He said to me, I'm a champion. Even when I fall, I'm a champion. So when you fall, what do you say? See, when you're faced with a challenge, what do you say? When those limited beliefs show up in your mind, what do you say to yourself? Do you agree? Do you say, hey, this is the end of the line? No, it's not. If you're breathing, you can get up. It's not the end of the line. It's a new beginning for you. Ask the question. Ask the question. If the mind tells you no, then say, well, what's possible? Because the mind is powerful. It can go places that you can't go. How do I know? You remember that song that says, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town? See, your body can be in bed, but your mind can be on the other side of town, and things are so real that your mind literally believes that you is on the other side of town with it. Have you ever been sitting in a chair or at work, and all of a sudden you start daydreaming that you somewhere that you really, really, really want to be? Well, did the body go with you? No, the mind. Your mind is so resourceful. But if you allow it to back down, if you allow it to sit down, if you allow it to tell you that that's impossible and you buy into it, let me tell you something. Your mind will continue to show you the impossibilities of life. Challenge it. I say challenge it. How do I know? Because there have been many times that I have had to challenge my thinking. See, I've been faced with many situations where I had to challenge, is this what life is? No. No, what else is possible? Cuz I know something got to be possible. Something better than this. As long as you got breath in your body. Challenge it. Challenge the limiting beliefs. Challenge yourself to go to that next level. And let me tell you, even when the news or people tell you what you cannot do, let me tell you, nothing, I mean nothing. If God don't stop you, nothing stops a made up mind. When your mind is made up to do great things, it don't matter what somebody say. You're gonna do it. And I say today, challenge it. Take some time out throughout this week, or maybe just sit one day. And every time you get a negative thought, just write it down or mark on a sheet of paper. Whatever your favorite color is, use that one to mark every time you get a positive thought. But when you get a negative thought, use a different color that you probably don't even like and mark the paper that represents the negative thought. And then at the end of the day, see how many negative thoughts that you had versus positive thoughts. That'll let you know where you are. And it'll let you know where you're going. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you constantly thinking negative thoughts and you think that you're going somewhere differently, you're not. Because you done told the mind it's impossible. You told the mind that you choose to buy into all of the limiting things, all of the negative things versus things that are positive. Let me tell you, there is a power within the universe that nobody controls. It controls itself. And this power is not only in the heavens, it's also in the earth. How do I know? Put a seed in the ground, and something powerful in that soil makes that seed grow. There is something powerful in you. The next time a negative thought comes into your mind and tell you what you cannot do, challenge it. Ask the question, what is possible for me? And I'll give you an answer. All things are possible. Challenge it. Well, this has been the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that you will take the time out to like, share, and subscribe. And please do not forget on every third, sorry about that, every third Saturday at Fortified City Christian Church, they have the food giveaway. So please do not forget, if you are in need of food, go to 2744 Canton Road, Marietta, Georgia. And that is from the hours between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Well, until we meet again, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, super week and challenging those negative beliefs. Have a great day. Bye bye.